welcome back to Advice by Ash. I'm not sure if you've been noticing the posts I've been doing on Instagram have been related to a topic that I have been thinking about for a while. It is called reflection and retrospection, and I think it is so important, especially at this point in my life, to reflect and put everything into perspective in my life. Given from obviously when I was very young, up until teenage years, up until early adulthood, and now, whatever I've been through, I have been processing that, putting that into perspective for myself, and understanding what that meant to me and for my life. So, reflection for me is obviously having to deal with a challenge or a struggle that was difficult at that time and taking what I have learned and putting that into perspective now. Sorry, my iPad's doing something weird. Putting that into perspective now in the sense that what have I learned? What have I used to help me grow? And has it made me a better person from that? And it's not always easy because you always feel whatever you've gone through has been super traumatic or super hard. And the 100% is a lesson behind it. Even if we don't feel that there's 100%. Even if it's something small, it may be something super important that we had to learn. And until you take that time to process it, to put it into perspective, it's not going to make sense to you. So retrospect for me is whatever that I've learned and that I have, grown and understood from the experience. Now, what do I do? What do I do going forward? How do I use that to improve my life going forward? So if I look at something in terms of a reflection, I could look at, having a parental figure not being in my life as something super traumatic, something super hard, and no doubt it has been. When you grow up and you don't have that particular parental figure, you don't know what it's like to have that support. I'm not saying that I haven't had that sort of level of support, but that particular person gives to you. That's not something that should be a want, it should be a right, in my opinion. So whatever that is, that's my experience. I take that in the sense that, okay, I am reflecting on that. What has it made me today? And I think out of everything, it's made me the most independent person. I rely on myself, number one. I am my own person when it comes to, I trust myself completely, more than I trust anybody else. I am my number one person in my life. I put myself first, and that's been difficult. I had to, learn that no matter what, I've always got my own back. And until you put that into perspective, it's not going to make sense for you. So taking that into retrospect, like, what do I do? Okay, I understand what I've been through. I understand what it's done for me, and, the good and the bad, the negative and the positive. Now, what do I do going forward? So it makes me understand relationships differently. It makes me understand boundaries differently. You are always, when you're in a situation yourself, you don't see the whole picture. But when you've gone through something that's a bit difficult, you tend to step back and see, okay, what is this doing for me? You can learn to live, not have it. So it becomes difficult when you do have it in your life, right? So in saying that, that's not the only thing that I, have been through. I have, had to put in perspective. There's been a lot. There's always a situation, for example, let's say I have lost a friend. Okay. For me, it's like, okay, let's reflect. What did that person do for me? Did they bring anything to the table in my life? Where in my circle of a boundary friend, where do they belong? Does the absence affect my life currently? And what can I do going forward? That's the retrospect, right? So if you take various situations or circumstances or anything that you feel is traumatic and you reflect on that situation, it's not enough if you just, okay, what has that done to me? Because that's also the past, right? What do you take now from that situation to make your current life better, your future life better, and how you handle similar, God forbid, similar situations in the future? Do you act out as you did there? Was an appropriate reaction? Do you improve that reaction? And how do you let it affect you going forward? Sorry, my sinuses are the death of me. Absolute death of me. So, what do you do going forward in that situation? And also, that situation can apply to other areas of your life, like how you would handle it completely. Sometimes you learn an overall trait or overall skill or overall emotion that you can apply to every part of your life, not just something that's similar to that situation. And what's the major thing for me is that there's a lot of situations where you handle things a bit similar, whether you think about it or not. So I always say, take a step back, take a step back from that situation, rather not act on it at that moment, rather reflect on it and then put it into perspective and how to deal with it. I know people, I have friends that, may act on impulse. I used to do that. Act on impulse in terms of emotions at that moment. So it may not be, reflecting may not be something that's happened as a childhood or happened previously. It may be a situation you could also be dealing with at the moment. And reflect how you should respond, reflect what it's doing to you, and put it into retrospect going forward. So for, let's say, taking a relationship, for example, let's say your partner has a particular trait or a particular, something that you don't like, okay? Now reflect on that for a bit. Or even a friend, something that they are doing that you do not like. Put that, reflect on that. How big of it is it? And what can I do going forward? Do I confront them? Is it small enough that I can overlook it? But that could be an issue in the future. If you overlook something now, you can overlook something in the future. And like I said previously, always put yourself first. So when you are putting things into retrospect, remember that you always need to put yourself first when you're dealing with it. So no matter what the situation is, always put yourself first, but also see the entire picture. For me, it's always been something that I've dealt with, that I had dealt with previously, that I now deal with it differently. Friendships, relationships, whatever it is, dealing with people, I've learned that prior, even when it comes to inner circles, even family members, sometimes you have to put them in a boundary too, because of a reflective situation that helped me retrospect that and how to deal with it better. So this is something that I'm probably going to speak about more, because I think it's huge. Reflecting and retrospecting is quite a huge area, and it's quite a gray area. So I will probably speak about this going forward, but I hope this is really helpful. Please like, share, and subscribe. We don't know who we could reach, who we can help, and whose day we can make better by knowing that someone else is going through or has gone through a similar situation. And if you do ever want a bit of advice or want me to speak about a specific topic, please get me on my Instagram handle, which is at Aashiqui_unraveled, or my email is Aashiquidmakan@gmail.com. But please like, share, and comment. The more people we reach, the more hearts we can touch. Thank you so much.